start, my name is Ian Mati. I'm the co-founder of Vintara Collections. Vintara Collections is a bag and accessory brand that currently focuses on the production and sale of quality and functional bags using ethnically inspired fabric, which we normally call kitenge or Ankara, that create cultural connection and evoke elegance at the end of the day. Our vision as a business is to share the African culture, spirit, and love to the rest of the world through the pieces that we create. And today I just want to take some time and share more about my journey in entrepreneurship, some of the lessons that I've learned, and how that has sort of influenced the main key thing that you've learned today, which is you've presented today, which is a business model canvas. And it's quite impressive that you're actually learning these things when you're in campus. It means by the time you're getting into the heart of business, you'll probably be making better decisions than what some of us made. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm old, but I've been in business for some time, but I've made quite a few mistakes, and I'm just impressed. I was checking out some of the business model canvases, and I was impressed by the fact that you already understand who your key partners are, what your key activities are, what's your, the upside and the downside, who are your suppliers and who are you selling to, and what are you actually selling. I think one of the greatest insights that I have learned over the years is whenever you're selling a product, do not even look. It's important to look at the product itself and what that product can be able to offer people, but you also have to go beyond and look at the underlying need of your product. And the underlying need is the actual value proposition. Let me give an example. Apple, when Steve Jobs was creating Apple and the iPhone and the MacBook, if you read his books, there's a book called The Apple Experience where you can check it out and just see why the thinking behind the product itself. And Apple does not sell, it doesn't sell the phone. It sells something beyond the phone, an experience. And that experience is what makes people buy that phone. I don't know how many of you have iPhones, but have you ever met someone with an iPhone and the pride that they have because of that phone? You'd honestly think they have shareholding in that. And let me tell you, I'm one of those people. And I remember when iPhone hit their $1 trillion revenues, I was so excited. Me and a few friends were like, wow, iPhone has done it. As in, can you imagine you have customers across the world and they're excited because you've been able to beat a certain limit. And it's because they've been able to sell that experience to some of us. And the experience is how quick are we able to communicate? How quick are we able to just do one thing to the other? And I remember when he was creating the Bluetooth and all these things that can only service iPhone to iPhone, people were criticizing him. And most people are saying, how will people be able to send information and all these things? But at the end of the day, this guy was creating a community. You meet people who are using iPhone, and when a phone rings and maybe it's not yours that rang, you're always like, you also have an iPhone. It becomes a conversation starter for some people because of the experience that the phone gives. And that's what we need to think about at the end of the day. As we think about it in Vintara Collection, we're thinking, okay, yes, we are creating a bag. A bag can be used to carry this, it can be used to carry that, it can carry a laptop. We make lunch bags, so we can carry lunch. And our biggest clientele is our corporate business. We do a lot of corporate bags, that is conference bags, gift bags for clients. And we normally think, okay, when we are going to present to a corporate, for example, one of our biggest customers is National Bank and Safaricom. Whenever we go to present to Safaricom and National Bank, we don't go and tell them our value proposition is that we are going to give you a bag that is branded. We go and think about, okay, why do these people want to gift their clients? They want to gift because they want to retain their customers. Safaricom they're not nice people. Or National Bank, they're not nice people. At the end of the day, they have something that they want to achieve. So you have to go and look at your customer and ask yourself, what do they want to achieve? I remember there's this South African mentor. I know some of you know him. I've forgotten his name. He has a tough name. And he was doing a presentation in regards to value proposition. And the reason I'm talking a lot about it is because it's going to guide a lot of my conversation today. And a lady was selling perfume, and I think was selling perfume for $100, which is quite pricey. And he was asking for advice. How can I sell this perfume for which is 10,000 Kenya shillings? And the guy asked her, sell this perfume to me, and she went, this perfume will make you smell nice. This perfume has been made from this and this. Amazing detail. But I was wondering, would I have bought the perfume because of that detail? And the answer was no. So this guy decided to sell this perfume to the lady. And the first thing he told the lady was, I'll sell to you a perfume that whenever you go to work, the ladies who don't like you at the office will now will wonder, hey, you're smelling nice. The ex who left you, your ex-partner who left you will be, you'll be confident to walk around him or her, At the end of the day, they looked at the underlying need. And what's the underlying need for someone who's selling perfume? It's confidence. When you're having, I've seen someone who's commented, it's called Vusi. It's confidence at the end of the day. You have to think through what's the underlying, what's the need behind this customer beyond the qualities of your amazing product. Yeah. So pretty much that's what Vintara offers. And I started business immediately after high school. And I think for me, mostly just like you, I had that thirst. And I think one of the things I learned when I started, because I started doing some printing jobs here and there, going to River Road to print posters, coming uptown, and you're selling it at a crazy markup. For lack of a better word, I think at that time I was a broker. And I can say that sort of gave me some experience in regards to just understanding, okay, this is how Kenyans run business, and these are some of the gaps in the market. But I can say a lot has changed between 2012 and right now. But the reason why I'm saying a lot has changed is because technology is coming, COVID has happened, and the question in our mind is, how do we adjust to this thing? And that's the essence of a business model canvas. The COVID has really pushed people to rethink their business model. For example, even us as Vintara, we are sitting down to ask ourselves, okay, how do we readjust? And you see, most businesses that were meeting in offices are no longer meeting in offices. Zoom, when COVID happened and people started using Zoom, I think it was in New York Stock Exchange, the value of Zoom just shot. It was quite impressive. Very few people knew about Zoom. No one saw the importance of Zoom, but they were quick to adapt, quick to change. And people like Skype are there wondering, where did these people come from? How did they adjust this quick? That even Skype can offer the same service that we are using here as Zoom. But why are we using Zoom? It's because of how fast they changed the narrative. They looked at the need in the market, and the need in the market was office work, people to work together, and meetings. It wasn't about catch up, really, because you could do that on WhatsApp, you could do that on Instagram, but now they went for the immediate need for the customer. So I think that is one thing that you need to understand as you're creating your business model. It will change, and you have to constantly sit down and change it over and over again. I think one of the things that I'm always super grateful is I sat under Wandia Gishuru, who's the CEO and co-founder of Vivo, and she constantly mentored me. And every time I go to her office, I normally see her whiteboard with a business model canvas. It never changes, like the whiteboard, but she constantly changes the content of the business model canvas. And she tells me, Ian, right now we have to adjust, we have to do this and this. And right now they've created a product called Shop Zetu. And Shop Zetu is an online platform where they're taking in different designers, Vintara being part of them, and they're helping designers be able to sell their product through that platform. That's a totally different business that Vivo is doing, but it's readjusting. They're realizing there are quite a number of entrepreneurs who are selling amazing art and amazing creative stuff, but they need to sell it. So business model canvas will change with time, but you have to constantly understand what's the new angle, how are things changing, and how do we change with time. But at the end, but behind your mind, you constantly have to ask yourself a question: what's the underlying need for our customers? How can we ensure that we're still breaking even? How can we ensure that we're meeting the market in good time, and we're not struggling to catch up with people who sort of adjusted as fast as they could? I mean, look at some of the companies that were making strides during COVID. I mean, the truth is, not everyone was struggling during COVID. There are companies that actually made strides during this period, and it's because of how quickly they changed their business models and how they were able to adjust to the market itself. So, I mean, when I started doing this printing branding business, but I realized I was just trying to sort of fit in the sort of like the old kind of businesses that were there before. There was nothing new I was offering in the market. I mean, pretty much I was just trying to be able to make some money when I was in university. And at that time, I was pursuing a degree in economics at the University of Nairobi. But one of the critical things I think I learned there is to try out different stuff. This is what is there, try out different stuff, because you never land on that good thing before you try out different things. You know, you'll understand how the market operates. Let me tell you, it's so hard to understand entrepreneurship if you're not in the middle of it. You know, you won't understand the market if you're not in the market itself. You have to constantly be in the market itself. And I think 2015, when I cleared university, is when I decided to do this thing on a full-time basis. And I remember, and maybe you might face this, and this is on a personal basis. I really struggled to convince my dad that I had studied economics and I was going to sell bags. It was, you know, it was a bit difficult for him to understand how I landed on that, how I landed on fashion. You know, because fashion has not been a space that has been recognized before, but right now it's a space that is quite doing well. You know, I remember when one day I was coming to present to us the very first time I was in a program like this, and she shared some of the figures they were doing as a business, and I was shocked. I couldn't believe that if the fashion space could be able to make this amount of money. But hey, I mean, they're there, they're doing that, and it sort of expanded my mind. And that's the second thing I'd want to mention is, as you do this, right now you're graduating from Centonomy Campus Edition. I know they have different programs. I'd challenge you to continue enrolling and doing more. The one thing I normally say is your business can only grow to the level of your mind. If you've read one book about business, that's where your business can grow to. Your business cannot grow to something you've never envisioned, to something you don't understand. It can only grow to the level of your mind. So, and that's one thing I've always told myself. I'm constantly learning. And from 2015, I've been doing different programs. I think almost every year I've been doing a program for 3 months, 6 months. And some of them are, I mean, I'm always doing them according to the level of business that I'm in. I don't go to enroll for a program that I'm not yet viable for. And then I get there, I'm probably confused. And just because my business is not at that level. So I normally choose and look at, okay, this is the best sort of program for me. And you'll really be empowered, and it will enable you to see the different aspects of business going ahead of you. And it's always the best place to get mentors, to peer-to-peer learning. And at the end of the day, also meet people who will be your partners. And let me get to the next point from that. Team. Kenyans have a habit, and not all Kenyans, but Kenyans have a habit of going for something we call cheap labor. You create a business. What do? You go to university, get young guys who want to do attachment or internship. I mean, you're giving good opportunity, but at the end of the day, what you're trying to achieve is to hire cheaply so that you can be able to to make more money. But at the end of the day, what does that do to your business? whenever we go to pitch, one thing that I didn't mention is I also work for a company called Nova Star Ventures, an impact investment fund, and I work as an advisor to the fund at businesses that send in their pitches, look at what businesses are viable for us, and send this to the investment team so they can make a follow-up on this. And we really focus a lot on impact investment. You can check out the company, it's called Nova Star Ventures. And one of the critical things that we look at, and I look at whenever I see pitches coming, because we do seed rounds, which means a minimum of $500,000 in investments. One of the critical things we look at is a team. Who are the people behind this business? And this is what I'd say. You may have a brilliant idea, but you may not know how to fully execute. You're young, you don't have the expertise. But there are people out here who have the expertise. You can't, and chances are high you may not be able to pay them. But this is how smart you can be able to work around. Bring these people as shareholders in your business. Tell them, you know what, I can't pay you, but I'll give you 10% of your business. And this is what I want you to give me. Give them a few things that you want them to help you achieve. And the reason why I'm saying this is because whenever we look at businesses and we're thinking, okay, we're giving this person, maybe this business $1 million or $2 million for maybe a seed round, maybe the first seed round or a second seed round. And we ask ourselves, when we give these people this money, it our sure, or will they be able to actually know to the latter to the last coin where they're going to spend this money? Do they know how they're going to be able to approach the market? Have they understood the market itself? What's their background? You know, and this is not. I mean, this is sort of just a smart way to enable you to handle business in a better way. And I think that's one thing I later learned as I was doing business. And I meet people and I look at probably someone with a certain expertise, and I'm like, wow, I think this is someone I'd want in our team. Recently, we got someone who used to do consulting for a different company, e-commerce consulting. And when COVID happened, and this guy quit his job, I reached out to him immediately and told him, Sombo, I need you in my team. Reason being, this guy can be our head of tech. We never thought fashion would be influenced a lot with tech. Now we need to have a head of tech in our business. So he's our head of tech and online retail. But I can't pay this guy what he was being paid in his previous company. So what did I do? I told him, okay, come in and let's do this. I'll give you shareholding. This is what I want as deliverables, you know? And because I don't have any expertise in tech, it will take me a long time to go and start learning tech. Then why, there's quite a lot that I'd want to learn, but I don't have the time to do so. I have other things I need to pitch, I need to fundraise for the business and all those things. So who are the people that you're working with? Get the right partner. I mean, it's normally a tough conversation sometimes. But you see, at the end of the day, it's workable. Find the right partners, have good contracts at the end of the day, which I'm sure it's something that you've learned through this course, or you will learn in the future. Good contracts that will help you to work together. But partners are good. I remember for us, as we grew in the business, we sort of learned who are the right people. And we made mistakes. I remember at some point I even had to close my business because my head of production, the person who was running my whole production, decided to, sort of steal from the business, and we lost money and materials and all these things. But you see, the thing I learned about him was he was a tailor, he was a Joakali guy. And this guy had maxed out. You've taken someone from Jericho Market, come and told him, be a production manager. Hey, you're paying him well. This guy, I think probably he got confused with all these things that are happening. And you see, the thing is, if this is someone who had the expertise, who had some good educational background, he would have understood there's a future here. There is more to this. There's no need I steal a little bit from this guy because he thinks we are making some good amount of money. So let me steal from this guy. If he had some expertise and educational background, then he would see the future. So there's no need for me to steal because we have a bright future ahead of us. And he almost became a partner in the business. But unfortunately, he did not a partner. And that's the other thing I want to stress. And I remember when I was in university, and quite a number of entrepreneurs, there was a crop of entrepreneurs at my time, and we had this thinking that you don't need to go to university. You can run a biashara and do all these things, but let me tell you, education is key. You can clearly tell someone who has a good educational background and someone who doesn't have educational background by how they run their business. And this is the difference. Our folks were running businesses like hardwares. They were running businesses, printing businesses, and all these things. And it sort of made them believe that to some extent you don't need educational background to do these things. But right now, look at the businesses that we are doing. We're doing tech-oriented business. We have to think through businesses to a larger extent as compared to how our folks would do it. Our folks would have a shamba, sell the shamba, get some good capital, come to Nairobi, open a hardware, and they'd sell a lot. But how many hardwares do we have right now, to be honest? You want to open a hardware right now and you have to even think about, can we deliver? It's no longer your customer will come and find you. They're thinking, do we have to open a social media account? It's no longer business as usual for them, even for them. And that's why you're seeing quite a number of their businesses struggle during COVID period, because they thought these things we are calling social media, Instagram, Facebook, they thought some of these things were not important. But right now they're hiring university guys to come and help them set up these accounts for them, because they've realized things have to change. So that educational background is also key for you to be able to grow your business to a good extent. So I think the other thing I'd say is about raising money for your business. I think that is one important thing that maybe I sort of delayed in doing so, but I was also able to do so. They normally say the people who believe in your business from the word go are family, friends, and fools. Those are the three people who believe in your business when you're starting out. But people don't know how you can leverage on these three people. I'll tell you for a fact, most of our investment, other than external investment that we've done, we have a lot of investment that we've gotten from family and friends. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we normally look at family and friends and we're thinking, let me just borrow them 50K or 100K to be able to buy this and that, then share. We don't think about, can I do a good presentation and present it to my dad, present it to my auntie who works at this company, has savings, but doesn't know what to do with her money, has a good disposable income here and there. We just go to them with a conversation. Dad, nimeanza kuuza bags hapa, help with 100,000. You don't even go and share, the value of your business to these people. We despise this group of people and we think, the people who are going to give me a lot of money are external investors, want to go and pitch to this, And that is one thing I learned. I started creating even, you see the business model canvas. Now in a simpler way, I didn't know the business model canvas when I was starting out. But I'd go with presentation of forecasts. I remember my first workshop was financed by a buddy of mine who were with in high school. And I went and told him, this is the workshop I want to set up. This is the machine. These are the revenues we can be able to make. This is where we are going to be selling to start with. These are the clients we've been able to get, and these are the constant revenues that we are getting every single month. And he looked at it and he was like, you know what? I'll give you 50,000 to start this. And that was my very first investment that I got from a friend. And that investment went a long way into building the business. Later on, we were able to fundraise. And from another, I can say, a mentor. I went to my mentor and told her, you know what? This business is growing and I need money and I need to increase my workspace. And that, I remember our first workspace was a stall in Jericho Market. We could only fill 2 machines and we were a team of 3. And we realized we needed to grow this business. At that time, we did a presentation to another client and we started supplying our bags at the airport. So we sell our bags at JKI, that's Gate 11, Gate 15, 2 shops there, and we have shelf space in those shops. And that's our biggest distributor because of the international market that is there. And when we realized that we are growing, we went and presented and I told my mentor, we have this client. This client will be ordering this number of bags every month. I can't supply that. Can you give me this amount of money, and I can pay it in this manner, you know? And they took it and they were like, yeah, this is a good presentation. And clean, they gave us 300,000. I remember we paid the first 2 installments, and she told me, you know what? Actually, don't even pay me back the rest of the money. I mean, just because we were able to prove the concept. And slowly by slowly, we started realizing the importance of growing the business, because the challenge that happens with entrepreneurship is if you don't fundraise early, you end up getting into a place where you lack cash flows. So you have to ask yourself, do we stop growing the business, or do we get in more financial investment to be able to grow the business faster? And investment is something that has started coming into the country. We are hearing of big companies like Twiga Foods getting large, investments. They recently fundraised $30 million, which is, I think, 3 billion Kenya shillings. And people are starting to understand the importance of investment, even pre-revenue. I can assure you, Twiga Foods might not, I'm not sure, but I'm sure some of these companies are not even profitable yet. But they're already, the fact that they're able to prove concept. And this is how they're able to prove concept. One, is your product scalable? And this is something I want you guys to ask yourself. Is your product scalable? Do you think you're going to be able to sell this product to 1 million people? Or is it difficult to reach 1 million people? That's the first question. So is it scalable, and can it be able to, can it be sold to the masses? One interesting avenue that probably I challenge you to get, and it's even challenging me right now, is think about your business and think about the low income earners. Very many people are targeting that because a majority of Africa are low income earners, to be honest. So you have to think about it. Okay, can I create something that can be able to be, can be consumed by the low income earners? Let me use Twiga Foods as an example. So Twiga Foods, what they do is they're able to source fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, and bring it to the end client, who's the mama mboga, the restaurants, and all these things. So when they go to pitch, this is what they say. They say, we are the broker, we are the middleman, and we can be able to tap to over 1 million farmers, get the produce from them, and be able to sell directly. What did these farmers benefit? These farmers benefit from the fact that there are no longer too many middlemen. There are very many middlemen in the agricultural space. So the farmer will see, oh, now I'll make more money. And the end consumer, who's the restaurant or the mama mboga, will eventually even buy the product cheaper, you know? So these guys are actually servicing very many people. And you know what Peter Njonjo says when he goes to pitch? He says, my goal at the end of the day is to ensure that a mama mboga doesn't have to wake up at 4 a.m. to go to Marikiti to buy fresh produce, come back home, prepare the kids to go to school, then have to go back to work. That is the underlying need. This guy is not selling fruits, he's not selling vegetables, he's selling convenience. Convenience for who? For mama mboga. Convenience for who? For a restaurant. You know? And a buddy of mine who owns a restaurant called Marita's Bajias, he was telling me, for the same amount of tomatoes he used to buy for 6,000, now he's buying from Twiga Foods for 2,000. For less, but also the farmer is making more because there are too many, you know. So you see, the thing is, he's able to pitch this and see the vision behind this, that we can actually be able to push it to the masses. Let me tell you, that's a challenge that I'm having as Vintara, asking ourselves, how can we go to the low income earners?